Ahoy, ye scurvy sea dogs and daring deckhands! Welcome aboard the Northern Tempest, the finest vessel to ever sail the seven seas of adventure and storytelling. I'm your captain, Vaughn D6, and I'll be charting the course as we plunder treasures of epic tales, uncover the secrets of RPG gameplay, and trade stories of daring deeds and legendary loot. Whether you be a seasoned veteran Yonko or a wide-eyed landlubber new to the world of role-playing games, there's a spot for ye in our crew. So hoist the sails, grab your dice or controller, and brace yourselves, 'cause the tide's risin' and a grand adventure be awaitin'.
Title: Kairos, The Chosen of Zydars. Episode MOT: A New Beginning. The last thing Kairos remembered was running down his neighborhood street, a toy sword in his hand and the sound of laughter echoing behind him. But when he opened his eyes, everything had changed. He was no longer in the bustling streets of his hometown. Instead, he found himself in a vast, glowing field. The grass shimmered in shades of gold, and two suns blazed gently in the lavender sky. His hands were tiny. He was no older than a baby, and his thoughts, though sharp, were still too new to fully grasp what had happened. The first voice he heard was soft and melodic. "Welcome, little one. You are born anew in the realm of Zydars." Kairos turned his wide, curious eyes to see a figure made entirely of light, their forms shifting like flowing water. The being introduced itself as Zarethis, the spirit of the world. "You were chosen," Zarethis continued. "This world needs a hero, one born with the courage of an untamed heart and the resilience to protect the balance of all things." Kairos didn't understand much, but his instinct told him this wasn't a dream. Zarethis touched his forehead, and warmth spread through his tiny body. "You will grow strong, little one," Zarethis said. "The magic of Zydars flows through your veins. The skills you gain will be yours to master. But beware, with great power comes great trials. The world itself will guide you, but the path ahead is yours to choose." From that moment, Kairos was no ordinary child. Even as a baby, he exhibited traits far beyond human. His skin carried an ethereal glow under moonlight, and he learned to crawl, then walk in mere days. A faint, swirling pattern appeared on his palms, marking him as the gifted one, an ancient prophecy's chosen child. An ancient prophecy's chosen child. As he grew, the world of Zydars began to reveal its wonders and dangers. Animals with crystal-like fur roamed the forests. Rivers ran with silvery water that whispered secrets, and mysterious ruins dotted the landscapes, brimming with ancient power. At the age of 3, Kairos discovered his first ability. Chasing a glowing butterfly-like creature through a meadow, he tripped and fell into a shallow stream. But instead of sinking, his body floated effortlessly, and the water responded to his touch. With a wave of his hand, he made the stream rise, twisting into playful spirals. Excited, he rushed back to the small village where he was being raised by a kind-hearted mage named Rhea. She gasped when she saw his glowing palms and the small orb of water dancing between them. "The world has blessed you indeed," Rhea whispered. "Water magic at your age? You're special, Kairos." As the years passed, Kairos continued to discover new abilities. He found he could understand the speech of animals, summon protective barriers when in danger, and even sense the emotions of those around him. However, each gift came with its own challenge, forcing him to push his limits to master them. But Zydars was not a peaceful world. Whispers of dark forces, stirring in the shadowy corners of the realm, reached the village. It was said that an ancient evil, sealed away for centuries, was beginning to awaken. One day, while exploring the ruins near the village, Kairos stumbled upon an ancient artifact, a black obsidian pendant etched with glowing, unfamiliar runes. The moment he touched it, his vision blurred, and a deep, booming voice echoed in his mind. "So, the child of prophecy has arrived. The balance of Zydars rests in your hands, young one. But are you prepared to face the darkness?" Kairos didn't know the answer yet, but his heart swelled with determination. This was his new world, and he would protect it with everything he had. The moment Kairos opened his eyes, he knew something was different. The ceiling above him wasn't the faded, water-stained roof of his old home. It was an intricate tapestry of golden vines and silver stars. His tiny body felt warm and heavy, wrapped in soft silk. He could hear muffled voices around him, excited, joyful voices. "A son!" a man exclaimed, his voice deep and filled with pride. "Our Kairos is finally here." As Kairos shifted in the warmth of his blanket, he realized two things. First, he was no longer the boy who had grown up running through the streets of a city where the only magic came from imagination. Second, he could still remember it all, his past life, his struggles, and the dreams he never got to fulfill. Now, he was here, in the magical world of Zydars, born into a noble family of power and influence. His father, Lord Aldrich Valen, was a renowned swordsman and head of House Valen, protectors of the southern realms. His mother, Lady Celeste Valen, was a skilled mage and healer known for her kindness and sharp intellect. And then there was his older sister, Lyria, a prodigy in elemental magic, barely 10 years old, but already heralded as a genius. For the first few years of his new life, Kairos played the role of the innocent, wide-eyed child, soaking in the world around him. The Valen estate was a sprawling fortress of marble and crystal, surrounded by gardens that glowed faintly under the moonlight. Servants and tutors bowed as they passed, and he quickly realized his family was not just respected, they were revered. But Kairos had no intention of resting on his noble birthright. "I've been given a second chance," he thought to himself one night, staring at the twin moons through his bedroom window. "This time, I'll become strong. Strong enough to protect those I care about." Even as a toddler, his parents noticed something remarkable about him. He was unusually perceptive, picking up on emotions and subtle cues with ease. By the age of 3, he had begun mimicking sword forms he'd seen his father practicing. Aldrich laughed it off at first, but when he saw Kairos execute a perfect beginner's stance without instruction, his expression turned serious. "You've got potential, son," Aldrich said, kneeling to Kairos's level. "But strength comes with discipline. If you want to learn, you'll have to earn it." Kairos nodded solemnly, his determination shining through his young face. Lady Celeste, too, noticed her son's affinity for magic. One afternoon, while she was tending to the garden, she saw Kairos sitting by the fountain, his tiny hands outstretched toward the water. The rippling surface calmed, and a small orb of water rose into the air, wobbling but holding its shape. "Kairos," she called out, startled. He dropped the orb in surprise, splashing water everywhere. Looking up at his mother, he grinned sheepishly. "Did I do something wrong?" Celeste smiled and pulled him into a gentle embrace. "No, my little star. You've done something extraordinary." By the time Kairos was 5, his training had officially begun. His days were filled with lessons in swordsmanship, taught by his father, and basic magic, guided by his mother and sister. Lyria was a strict but patient teacher, her competitive streak pushing Kairos to improve faster than he thought possible. "What's the point of remembering your past life if you don't use it to be better?" he reminded himself during every grueling session. One day, during a sparring match with Lyria, something incredible happened. As she sent a wave of fire toward him, Kairos instinctively raised his hand. Instead of dodging, he focused on the flames, and they stopped midair, swirling around his palm before dissipating. The courtyard fell silent. Lyria stared at him in shock. Aldrich and Celeste, watching from the balcony, exchanged a knowing glance. "That's," Lyria stammered. "That's not normal, Kairos." Aldrich descended the stairs, his heavy boots echoing across the courtyard. "No, it's not," he said, his eyes locked on his son. "That's the mark of someone extraordinary." It wasn't long before the rest of the noble families began to take notice. Rumors spread of the young prodigy of House Valen, a boy who could command fire and water with equal ease, and whose swordsmanship was advancing faster than his age should allow. But Kairos wasn't interested in fame or recognition. He had a deeper purpose, one that lingered in the back of his mind. He remembered the weight of helplessness from his past life, the regret of not being able to do more. In this world, he wouldn't let those feelings consume him. One evening, as he wandered the estate's library, he stumbled upon a hidden passageway. At the end of the dimly lit corridor was a pedestal, and atop it lay a glowing artifact, a crystalline shard etched with runes. The moment he touched it, a surge of energy coursed through him, and a voice resonated in his mind. "You are the one I've been waiting for, the chosen of Zydars. The balance of this world depends on you, Kairos Valen." Kairos clenched his fists, the shard glowing brightly in his hand. "Then I'll be ready," he whispered to himself. At 10 years old, Kairos stood before his parents in the grand hall of the Valen estate. The shimmering light of the twin moons spilled through the stained glass windows, painting the room in hues of silver and gold. He was nervous but resolute. His heart was set on the choice he was about to make. "Mother, father," Kairos began, his voice steady, though his palms were damp with sweat, "I want to attend the Zydarian Academy of Magic." Lord Aldrich raised an eyebrow. "The Academy?" he echoed, his deep voice carrying both curiosity and concern. Lady Celeste smiled gently, resting a hand on her husband's arm. "It's an excellent choice, Kairos. The Academy will hone your talents and expose you to other great minds." But her smile faded slightly. "Why do you wish to go? You already have excellent teachers here." Kairos met their gazes, his amber eyes filled with determination. "I want to learn everything this world has to offer. I want to grow stronger, not just for our family, but for myself. The Academy has resources and knowledge that can help me understand my abilities better. Please, let me go." Aldrich crossed his arms, studying his son. After a long pause, he nodded. "Very well. If this is what you want, we won't stand in your way. But remember, Kairos, the path of power is treacherous. Stay true to yourself." Lyria, standing nearby, smirked. "Don't get soft at the Academy, little brother. You'll have to show me what you've learned every time you visit home." Kairos grinned. "I wouldn't have it any other way." The Zydarian Academy of Magic was a sprawling citadel perched atop a floating island. It loomed high above the capital city of Xylaris, its spires piercing the clouds. When Kairos arrived, he felt a mix of awe and excitement. Students of all ages and backgrounds bustled around him, their robes shimmering in the colors of their chosen magical disciplines. As the headmaster, an elderly elf named Eldrin the Lauren, welcomed the new students, Kairos felt a pull toward something deeper. While most students gravitated toward elemental magic, healing arts, or enchantments, Kairos's gaze lingered on the darkened halls of the Obsidian Wing, the domain of necromancy and shadow magic. In his heart, he already knew his path. That night, Kairos approached the admissions board to declare his specialization. The mage at the desk, a stern woman with glowing blue eyes, raised an eyebrow as he spoke. "Necromancy? Shadow magic?" she asked, her tone laced with caution. "Those disciplines aren't for the faint of heart, young one. Are you certain?" Kairos nodded firmly. "I am." "Very well." She handed him a black-bound tome and a silver pin in the shape of a raven, the symbol of the Obsidian Wing. "Your studies will be challenging, and many will question your choice. But the shadows often hold the answers the light cannot reveal." As Kairos walked away, he couldn't help but feel a thrill of anticipation. The Obsidian Wing was unlike anything he had imagined. The halls were dimly lit by violet torches, and the air buzzed with an eerie energy. His first class was taught by Master Oryx, a gaunt man with pale skin and piercing eyes. To master the shadows is to understand the balance between life and death, Oryx intoned, pacing the room. Necromancy is not about raising mindless hordes or spreading fear. It is about control, understanding, and the delicate weave of souls. Kairos soaked in every word. He studied late into the night, practicing spells in secret corners of the library. His first breakthrough came when he successfully summoned a shadow familiar, a sleek raven-like creature with glowing eyes. He named it Umbra, and it became his constant companion. But as he delved deeper into necromancy, whispers began to follow him. Fellow students avoided him, their fear evident in their glances. Even some instructors regarded him with suspicion. "Why would a noble son choose such dark arts?" they murmured. Is he trying to prove something? Kairos ignored the gossip. He had chosen this path because he knew it held power few dared to touch. Power he could use to protect what mattered most. Months into his studies, Kairos stumbled upon a forbidden section of the library. Hidden within its depths was an ancient tome bound in leather that seemed to pulse faintly under his touch. The title read, The Grimoire of Souls. When he opened it, a voice whispered in his mind, Child of Zidars, you walk the path of shadows. Do you seek knowledge, or do you seek power? Kairos hesitated, then answered with conviction. Both. I want to master the darkness, not be consumed by it. The voice chuckled. Very well. But remember, the deeper you delve into the shadows, the harder it is to find your way back. From that day forward, Kairos' studies intensified. He learned to weave shadow tendrils to bind enemies, summon skeletal guardians, and even glimpse into the memories of the dead. Yet he never forgot his father's words, stay true to yourself. Life at the Zidarian Academy was rigorous, but Kairos thrived in the shadows. Between lectures on the intricacies of necromantic energy and his experiments with forbidden tomes, he always sought moments of solitude to test his limits. It wasn't enough for him to simply study magic. He wanted to wield it, to bend it to his will. During his downtime, Kairos often ventured into the small dungeons scattered around the outskirts of the Academy's floating island. These dungeons were used by students and adventurers for training and exploration, each filled with low-level monsters and ancient traps. One evening, after his classes had ended, Kairos packed his black-bound grimoire, his short sword, and a satchel of mana potions. Umbra, his shadow raven familiar, perched on his shoulder, its glowing eyes flickering with curiosity. You know the drill, Kairos murmured to Umbra. We go in, clear the room, and test her spells. Simple. Umbra let out a low croak, almost as if it were laughing.
Okay, guys and gals, that's it for the first episode of Four Shadows. Tune in next week, see ya!